All right, guys. Thank you all for coming out. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Olivier Lewis with RE/MAX First Realty 2 in Cranford. We do these combined trainings with RE/MAX First Realty in East Brunswick and my partner, Carl Sanfilippo, who's not here today. So today we're going to cover 10 ways to generate listing leads. Spoiler alert, there's nothing brand new. We can't reinvent the wheel with this, but it is on the 10 listing lead sources and lead generation activities to generate listings, and also how to convert them. A lot of times, us agents, we focus on generating leads and not the conversion part. The challenge is you need both. It needs to be a pairing, a marriage of the two. Having leads and generating leads without being able to convert them is not the recipe for success. So today we're going to cover the 10 sources that work, the 10 sources everyone knows, a lot of us in here are using, are doing, but also we're going to focus on the service, the value, differentiating yourself, and converting the leads. That's the goal. It's to be intentional, it's to be purposeful, to get the leads converted and not just generate them in. A little bit about myself and why this ties in to what we're doing today is I became an agent 14 years ago, and my story is a little different than most. I like to say it's unique for the industry. I started out as an ISA, Inside Sales Associates, for those of you that don't know what an ISA is, and I was cold calling for listings. I cold called buyers that had a home to sell in order to buy, and cold called classifieds, FSBOs, et cetera, expireds. That led to me quickly running a team and a group that was doing the same, and I did that for about 4 years. Then the market turned, 07, 08-ish, company closed, went bankrupt, and I became a sales associate. Never sold, never listed a home, but I was an inside ISA. So in 2008, when the market turned, really funny, I got my broker's license with 0 sales. Never had an MLS because I didn't need it. I was an ISA, right? I ran a group. I ran an outbound cold calling team. Never had an MLS, never listed a property, never did a buyer's contract. And I'm in broker school with all these brokers that had 20, 30, 40 sales, and they were shocked to believe that I never sold anything. But 2008, when I became an agent and started to sell, I had to focus on lead generation. And that was a very tough, challenging market. How many of us were agents, or how many of you were agents back then? Yeah, so you guys remember, it was tough. There was volatility in the market. Everyone was scared and nervous to buy a home and spend money because we didn't know what the market was doing and where it was heading. And if we hit the bottom, when were we going to hit the bottom? We went into a recession, and the market kind of took a standstill and then just took a nosedive. So it was tough. It was tough generating leads. For those of you who raised your hands and remember that period, there weren't all these lead sources. People were kind of holding off. People were underwater. Those adjustable rate mortgages were adjusting and people couldn't refinance. And at one point, I think it was 1 out of every 5 homes in America were like underwater. So it was tough to generate leads. What was even harder was when you generated 1 or 2, what did you do with them? So it made me value the leads. It made me really focus on conversion because I didn't have this abundance of leads the way we do now. You put a property for sale today, you're getting 2 calls a day between the online stuff, the sign calls, and you're getting in the leads. You know, you work for brokers, whether it's lead programs or you're doing your own lead gen, there's an abundance of leads today. It's a good market, and that's brought back a lot of agents. But what that does is we kind of get spoiled. We cherry pick, right? We're all guilty of it. You cherry pick. You look for the Glengarry Glen Ross leads, for those of you who've watched that movie. But what we need to focus on is not just the lead gen, it's also the conversion. It should be a pairing. So generating leads with the purpose to convert, and not, hey, if I get 10 leads in and I close 1, I more than made my money back. That's not the angle, and you won't be successful doing that. Yeah, you'll close a couple deals, but you're not maximizing your ROI on the lead spend. And generating leads isn't cheap, it's not easy, it's a lot of work. and it's very expensive if you're doing any of the online platforms. So we want to focus on what do we do with the leads? How do we generate leads and convert at the highest level possible so we're maxing out what we get out of the leads? It's like squeezing every bit of juice out of that lemon. Part of how we do that is emphasizing on service and value, right? Buyers today can put in an inquiry and get a call from 4 or 5 different agents. What do you think is going to be the determining factor of who they work with? It's service. For the same reason, if you're booking a hotel room for vacation, you're not going to book the Motel 8 or the Super 8 or whatever it's called. You're going to go to a nicer hotel, because if you need to find out where the gym is, you want someone to escort you there versus telling you make a right, make a left, make a U-turn and go upstairs and find the gym and you get lost. People want service. We're in the service industry, and a lot of times we forget that. But it's focusing on that and emphasizing that to your clients and showing value, and that's how you'll be the one of the 4 that they decide to stick with. Also differentiating yourself. With 4 or 5 different agents calling these buyers, calling sellers, going after listings, whether it's an expired FSBO, they're getting bombarded. So what makes you different? It's not necessarily the brand, it's you. People are hiring you. They're buying into you. You're shaking their hand. You're at their house, not the brand, right? So what makes you different? And part of that which is what we'll cover, is your value proposition and knowing your value. If you can't articulate it, you can't expect the seller on the other end to understand it and guess what your value proposition is. So that's going to be our focus today. Different lead sources. With lead generation for sellers, there's nothing I can do today to reinvent the wheel and give you some out-of-the-box magic pill to generate listing leads. But there are the 10 that work. I've personally done all 10 through either myself or managing an office. I've worked with agents that have tried all 10, but let's just go through them, because this is what works with listing lead generation. Past clients. People forget about past clients. Your past clients will become sellers at some point, right? Referral companies. There's a ton of third-party companies, especially now that the market's hot. These companies are popping up out of nowhere. Every other week there's a new company that's offering seller leads, that's offering buyer leads, that's saying, we can feed you and grow your business. I'm sure you guys are all getting calls, you're all getting emails. So there's a ton of third-party companies that are doing referrals. The big 3, Zillow, Realtor, Trulia. Love them or hate them, you got to play with them. They're like toll booths. You got to go through them, because that's where the market is. That's where everyone's looking. They have all the web traffic. Cold calling. It's like a 4-letter word to realtors. Some love it, some hate it. It works. It works. You're getting to understand what the client's needs are, their motivations. You can ask questions. You can sell yourself. It works. Expired listings. One fun thing I will go over with this when we get to the expireds is there's a big opportunity there that some agents don't really focus on, but expired listings are great. These sellers were committed to selling. They were on the market. They have the motivation, they've gone through the process, they understand the process, and they're most likely still have that desire and need to sell. So expired listings are great. For sale by owners. Love them, the smart ones. They're smarter than us. They know it all. They can do it themselves. The DIYers. Door knocking. It's another 4-letter word. We had a meeting in my office, and a couple agents do some door knocking, and just watching the other agents' faces was shocking. Like, oh my gosh, you went and knocked on a door. But again, like cold calling, that's the point of sale. There's no magic script from Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry. There's no postcard you can invent or design with whatever marketing company that's going to get someone to call you back and say, hey, Olivia, I got your postcard, and you know what? I'm ready to sell today. It's all yours. Come get this listing. But door knocking, if you're meeting with the person, that's the face-to-face sale. And that's the best way to get in front of someone if you're willing to do that. Distress sales. A lot of people shy away from them, but a lot of other agents build a big book of business around them. So that's another opportunity. And if you focus on it and you strategize to have a system in place and a business plan about how you're going to handle them, it won't take over your world, which is why a lot of people shied away from short sales and distressed sales, because they're so time consuming and labor intense. But if you create a system around it and you have a process, it's not going to be that bad. Farming still works. Show of hands, I need some interaction here. How many people get at home postcards, just listed, just sold, market share from other realtors? We all do. It works. It's not going away. It's still a way to get in front of people. It's part of most agents' business plan, but farming still works. And online ads and valuation sites, landing pages where you're online, whether it's social media or you're doing a campaign to directly target sellers, and you can put keywords in, and we'll get into that, where you're getting in front of them online. And it could be, hey, free valuation of your home, free market analysis, could be looking to buy or sell, need more space, contact me, or just, hey, I'm Olivier Lewis, I'm a local agent in Cranford with RE/MAX. But that is where, that's the new wave of where the market's going for lead generation. So most agents focus on lead gen or lead conversion, but the disconnect that we have in the industry is most people don't focus on both, and you need to. Generating leads without being able to convert, you're spending money, you're spending time, you're using resources, but you're not converting. Or you have the agents in the office that are, I can convert, just give me the leads. Let me sit your open house. I'm gonna sell that house at the open house. But they can't generate leads. You need both to be successful. So a lot of agents generate leads, the glass is half full for them, they don't convert. Some agents swear that they can convert. Give me a buyer, I'll sell them. I'll have them buying 2 homes. The glass is half empty for them because they don't have the leads to convert. So this glass, what would you guys say? How many people would say it's half full? Show of hands. How many people would say it's half empty? About the same. What if we looked at this glass as a full glass? Think about it. It's half full of water, it's half full of air. It's full. The glass is full. You need it to survive. You need the air and you need the water in the glass. For lead gen and being a successful agent, you need the lead gen, which is half, and you also need the conversion, which is the other half. The glass is full. You have to look at it that way. It can't just be I'm generating leads, or it can't just be, hey, I got a referral, I'm going to convert them. It has to be, I'm going to generate leads to convert them. So let's focus on the glass being full. It's always full. Mark Cuban has this quote, which I'll read. It's not whether the glass is half empty or half full, it's who's pouring the water. The key in business and success at any endeavor is doing your best to control your destiny. You can't always do it, but you have to take every opportunity you can to be as prepared as and ahead of the competition as you can possibly be. So it's how you approach it, which is the moral to that. And I'll send the slides, we'll get cards, I'll email the presentation out to everyone when we're done. So let's get into lead generation with FSBOs. Lawn signs, that's one of the key ways to generate FSBOs. And we've all probably been there, where you drive by a for sale by owner and you see the sign and you pull over and you're taking down the number, or you're taking the screenshot with your phone. I'm gonna call that FSBO. You don't call. A couple days later, you're driving by the same area, you see that same for sale by owner. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna take the door number down now, and I'm gonna look at the house, and I'll look it up on the MLS, and then I'll call. And you don't call. Next week, you're driving by again, and what do you see? ABC Realty with their sign out front. And you're like, ugh. But goes to show that sign is key. Pay attention, call, make the call. When you see that sign, that's a golden opportunity. And even if you're not a cold caller, we know the stats. 9 out of 10 for sale by owners will wind up listing with an agent. So make the call. Classifieds, Home News Tribune, Star Ledger. These are fewer and far between versus 10 years ago, but you still have people that do it. You still have people that are on NJ.com. It's kind of shifted to NJ.com, but you can still find FSBOs in the classifieds. Craigslist, there's a lot of, I guess, minutia stuff on there, but people still use it. A lot of the landlords shifted from the classifieds to Craigslist. And maybe in a couple years, there'll be another site that takes over Craigslist. You also have the marketplace on Facebook, which is a big one. But you can find for sale by owners through Craigslist, through Marketplace on Facebook. There's also Zillow Make Me Moves. If you're on Zillow, if you're ever using it, look on there. There's the Make Me Move section, which is basically a seller saying, I would sell my house for $500,000, even though it's worth 400. Or they also have a for sale by owner section. But if you go on Zillow and you're looking for sale by owners, you're looking for FSBOs, and it could be to generate listing leads, could also be for your buyers, right? A lot of these for sale by owners will cooperate with brokers. They will pay you a commission on the buy side. And if you can put a deal together, for better or for worse, if it works out, or if it doesn't work out, what do you think the for sale by owner is going to do? They're going to get frustrated. They're going to look at how much time they spent, the fact that they got nowhere. If you did a good job, they might just hire you to list their home. So that's another lead source. For sale by owner sites, they're popping up too. You have forsalebuyowner.com, which we all know the story. The owner, many, many years ago, wound up listing his house with the realtor when he was selling. And that's a good article to print out and take on your FSBO appointments. Buyers who have a home to sell. There's a lot of undercover FSBOs. What I mean by that is you're working with Joe or Sally, and she's buying a house with you, but they have a condo or their starter home, and they think that they can do it on their own and save the commission, but they don't mention it. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. But you have to find out what your buyer situation is if they own a home. If they say, oh, I'm going to rent it out, a lot of times that's a cover for I'm going to try to sell it on my own. But a lot of your buyers may have a home to sell, and they could tell you, I'm going to rent it out as a cover, but that's another lead source. And investors, builders. I just saw on a $1.2 million listing a builder with a for sale by owner sign. It happens. A lot of people fixing and flipping, they will try to do it on their own. And that's a great opportunity to pick up a high-end listing that's going to sell pretty fast. Whether it's new construction or a rehab, that's going to fly off the market once it can hit the market. But that's a good opportunity for you to pick up a FSBO. I love these signs, for sale by owners because I know it all, and for sale by owner because I love watching HGTV. So take advantage of the fact that most agents will see that lawn sign. They won't go look on Craigslist or Marketplace. They won't play around with Zillow and find the Make Me Moves and make the calls, but those are listings. 9 out of 10 will wind up listing. It's whether you make the call and hopefully get the listing. So some of the best practices to convert FSBOs is you can't go in with the mindset that you're going to be one and done. Even if you were a full-time ISA and you called for 40 hours a week and you had the scripts and they were customized and you can paraphrase them and you spoke very well and you had all the data, it's not a one and done. You have to go in with the mindset that you're building a relationship. You're going to call. They might hang up. They might get upset. They might ask you, can you not read? No realtors. But we're in the service industry. Focus on that. Focus on differentiating yourself. Focus on getting a little bit more information every time you talk to them. You're there to help. You're the licensed professional, right? So don't expect a one and done. We use this analogy all the time. It's like going to the gym for a week and saying, I didn't lose 10 pounds, this gym thing doesn't work. You can't call 5 FSBOs and say, I didn't get a listing, 4 hung up, 2 didn't pick up. This FSBO cold calling thing doesn't work. It works. But you can't have the expectation that it's a one and done. So go in there with that mindset, and when you get hung up on, when you leave 4 messages and don't get a call back, when you've been calling for 2 weeks and you don't have an appointment yet, if you have that mindset, you'll understand. You're mentally prepared. So you're not going to be disappointed. You'll understand that you're committed to the process and not necessarily focused on the immediate results. We're all in a now world, but if you look at the long term of it, you'll do very well if you stick with it and focus on calling and not expecting to get that one and done call and listing. Prepare if possible. So this goes back to that lawn sign. Some agents will just call blind. Like, hey, I saw your house for sale. I'd love to help you, or whatever their spiel is. And some agents like to do a little bit more work. I think the homework helps, knowing if they were previously listed, trying to figure out the list price. Because if they're underpriced, if it's a $500,000 neighborhood and they're FSBO for $450,000, the conversation is completely different, right? So doing your homework helps. If you're great at it and you've been doing it for a while and you don't mind the challenge of those tougher conversations and going in blind, hey, make the call. But to get newer agents that haven't been doing this comfortable with doing it, just do a little bit of homework. You'll feel more confident because you'll have more of a direction of where the conversation's going. Also ask questions. Why they're selling FSBO. That's a big one.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But you're saying prepare if possible. Other than listing archives and property archives and looking at the tax record and maybe doing a RPR, is there anything else that you suggest for us to do?
Yeah, look up the street. Because the worst thing that could happen is you call a FSBO and you're getting into a conversation, well, how'd you price the home? Well, the neighbor down the street sold. What did they sell for again? And you don't know.
Yeah, and then you're putting in the address really quickly, trying to get an answer, and you don't know it.
And that long pause, and they hear you typing, what do you think that tells them that you weren't prepared?
You don't know the market.
Or the conversation kind of drifts away at that point and you lose them. So just do your typical, look up the street, look up the area. So let's say you're driving in an area that you don't really sell in, but you want to. Don't just look up comps, try to get competent on the area. If it's a new town, find out, do a quick Google search. Is there a train station? Do buses run to New York? What's the school system like? What's the appeal to move into any town USA, wherever it is? But get a little competent so that if the conversation goes that far, which would be great if it does, you can speak intelligently and show value to them of you being a good resource and you have the capability and competency to sell their home.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So ask questions. One of the big questions is, where they're moving to, what are their goals, what's their time frame. You can ask them all this stuff, but you want to get into why they sold FSBO. A lot of people think every for sale by owner is just a know-it-all, or they're trying to be cheap, or they want to save on the commission. It's not always commission driven. It is not always commission driven. Some people could have had a bad experience with a realtor before. Maybe their parent's a realtor in another state, or a family member or a friend in another state that's guiding them. Maybe they watched one of their owners sell for sale by owner and it was easy. For those of you that are calling blind, maybe they were on the market and they expired, so they kind of gave up on realtors, right? So if you go in with the commission objective as what you're going to focus on and the lead and the direction of the conversation, you could be wrong. You could be talking about commission and that's the least of their concerns. So are you really winning them over and able to close that sale? If their worry is this and you're talking over here about this, you're not. So always ask that question. It's maybe not the lead question that you start with, but ask other questions to get to that question. Because then when you find out what the true objection, then you can address it. So offer tools, comps, contacts. I gotta tell you, this is that differentiator part. Most agents are afraid, or they wanna hoard the information, thinking, if I have it all, they need me. They will come to me. They will call me because they can't do it without me, and that's wrong. We're in an information age where everything's online. You can Google probably the answer to anything. But if you can show value, if you can be the resource for them, if you can give them the tools that they don't have and walk them through, most likely you'll be that agent that they come back to. Don't be afraid to help them. That's the differentiator, right? If 5 agents call a for sale by owner and there's only one that's going above and beyond to help and show value and differentiate themselves, when that seller hits that wall of frustration and they're ready to list, who do you think they're going to go with? Not the guy that said, oh, well, call me when you're ready. It's the guy that said, here's what you need to do until you get there, right? So don't be afraid to provide information. And that's what we mean by differentiating yourself. Wish them the best. Tell them, I want you to be successful, but if not, I want to be a resource for you. I'm committed to my business. I'm committed to the area. I'm the local expert. And I don't mind helping, because they will ask, well, what's in it for you? I'm not paying you a commission. I'm not letting you in my house. Hey, I'm just your local resource. I want to meet my neighbors. I want to help my neighbors. I wish you the best. But in the meantime, I'm here to help. Worst case scenario, you sell your home on your own, but I help you, you may refer me someone. And they get it, and they'll appreciate that. But you got to help. And that's the differentiator, where most agents see FSBOs as I'm not going to help them sell on their own. I'll show them. I won't give them anything. They're going to land on their face because this isn't going to work. But if you go in helping, we know the stats. 9 out of 10 won't sell. You can give them the information. They won't implement it. They won't know what to do with it, right? So why not help yourself get the listing by differentiating yourself? And that's the key thing you can do with the FSBO. Everyone has the scripts. Everyone watches Tom Ferry. Everyone Googles all these scripts. Everyone sounds like the typical FSBO or expired call of, I specialize in listings and here's why I'm great. But the ones that really win are the ones that are helping. Because when that seller needs to list, they're going to say, I have 8 cards, I got 8 calls, I wrote down 8 numbers. Who do I think is best suited to help me? It's the person that started by helping. So here's another couple cool signs, because I'm hard-headed. And for those of you who call FSBOs, they never answer the phone. They're at work, right? So they're FSBO because they won't answer the phone. So moving on to expireds. It's a big, big lead source. There's a lot of agents, their whole business evolves from calling expireds and what that turns into. So MLS expired hot sheet, most of you probably do it, whether it's Metuchen, Edison, Cranford, Roselle Park, you're looking for expireds on a daily basis to call, for those of you who are calling expireds. Who's ever heard of the term list them and leave them? Yeah, so this is a pretty cool thing to do. So for those of you who haven't heard of the term list them and leave them, those are agents that take listings and they leave the clients alone. They disappear. They don't call the clients, there's no showings, they're afraid to call, there's no feedback. The clients don't even remember their name. It's like set it and forget it, right? I took the listing, I put my sign out, now I never have to call. So what if you did this? What if you knew the list them and leave them agents in your marketplace, and you set up a hot sheet that whenever their listings expire, you can go after them, right? You know the seller's pain points. You know that there's no communication. You know that they're very disappointed. You know exactly how to approach that. That's a big opportunity that agents don't even realize, some don't, that you can set up an alert so that when John Doe's listing expires with his MLS ID number, you get an automatic email. And you know he's a list them and leave them. And there are some agents out there, we all know who they are, no names need to be said, that are list them and leave thems. But there's a great opportunity there. RedX, LandVoice, you pay for these, but they aggregate the expireds for you and they scrub them to find phone numbers. It's not 100%, but a majority of them do have phone numbers. Homes you've previously shown to buyers. Had an agent in my office show a home to a buyer. It expired months later. The buyer says, you know that house we looked at together? I'm still interested in it. I drive by it. I never saw another sign. You think you could reach out to him? Guess what happened? That agent went and knocked on the door and said, I showed this house 4 or 5 months ago. It's no longer on the market, but I want to see if you're looking to sell. Put a deal together. Buyer's buying that house. He got the listing side. The seller is buying a house with him. Awesome. But a lot of times we forget that the homes we showed and the buyers had interest, we don't really track them, but there's an opportunity there as well. Signs you've seen on a property for way too long. I had an agent in my office say, you won't believe how I got this listing. I saw this sign. It was falling over. Agent, it expired. The agent never went and got the sign. I was looking it up because it had been there for over a year. It expired. So I knocked on the door. The seller was so upset because the agent didn't communicate. They didn't even know that they expired, right? Because list them and leave them, the agents don't even call and they don't pay attention. Got the listing. So pay attention to your marketplace. So with expireds, I do this practice with agents that are starting to call expireds, and here's my angle with it. And I train them on, this is probably a softer into calling expireds if you've never done it and you're a little afraid of the rejection in the phone calls. Fishing. Why try to pick up a listing that 5, 6, 7 other agents are calling and it's going to be a challenge for you? I would focus on starting, if you have never called expireds, starting with these. Go back. It's a little bit of work. You got to scrub them. And depending on which MLS you're using, sometimes it's easy. It could show you if it was relisted. But the ones that were not relisted, the seller was motivated. They put it on the market. They went through the process. It expired. They probably still have the motivation to sell, right? So that's another good lead source. Here's some of the conversion. Be prepared to answer tough questions. Who's called expireds here? Show of hands. One of the first things they say is, why didn't you sell my home when it was listed, right? Or show it. Or show it. So be prepared for those tough questions. If you're calling expired listings and you're not prepared, they're going to catch you off guard and they're going to take control of the conversation. So be prepared. Ask yourself the tough questions. Practice them with your broker. Google the Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry scripts. See what other agents say to this, but be prepared. Don't sound scripted. So, true story, my parents' home was on the market. Shows you how great of an agent I was. They overpriced it, and it expired. Now, I used to go home for lunch. They were living in Ford's. My office was in Ford's, how convenient. I'd go home for lunch, and one day I pick up the phone, because the phone rang, and it's an agent calling to solicit my parents. So I entertained the call. I want to hear what they had to say. And it was basically I specialize in marketing homes that didn't sell previously. And I said, oh my goodness, did they just watch the video? I also got to go home at times and my parents would say, hey, here's a card someone just mailed. They have a buyer. Call this person. Right? And mom, it doesn't work that way. They're trying to get your listing. No, they're trying to sell the house. But don't sound scripted. Differentiate yourself. As I mentioned before, part of today is just thinking differently, acting differently for different results. Differentiate yourself. Use those scripts as maybe a guide to where the conversation could go, a direction, but not the end all, here's exactly what I'm going to say. Because 2 things will happen. One, you'll sound like everyone else. And second, when they ask you a question that throws you off, you're lost. So use the scripts, paraphrase them in your own head, but don't live by them. Always ask questions. How did the feedback go? I'm sorry, what was the feedback on your previous showings? I never got feedback. You ask what I call leading questions. You're leading them to what you know the answer to. I never got feedback. The agent never told me anything. Oh, how many offers did you get? Oh, we didn't get offers. Well, how many showings? This helps you, A, emphasize to them that they had a bad experience before. And you're asking all the stuff that they didn't get. 2, it tells you what you need to overcome. I had a case in the office where someone called and expired, and this is like the funniest thing. Well, how was the showings? Didn't go well. We didn't have many showings. What was the feedback? Didn't get feedback. Well, what about the feedback from the open houses? We never did it. They never did an open house for me. Can you believe that? Not one open house. And the agent in my office says, not one open house? I do open houses like every other week. Oh, you do? When can you come? And we got that listing. Agent had to commit to every other week doing an open house. But got the listing and it sold because they asked questions and they found out that the seller's hot button was there were no open houses because this seller lives in the 80s and thinks open houses are what sells homes. So by just committing to some open houses, got the listing. And I don't remember how many weekends it was, but it sold relatively quick. Listen. I did a meeting about listening once because there's two ways. You can listen to respond and you can listen to understand. Most people listen to respond. What I mean by that is you're talking, they're listening, cutting you off to finish your sentence for you. You're talking and they're trying to come up with the outcome. They're not processing what you're saying. It's coming in one ear, out the other. Then there's the listening to understand. You're empathetic, you're processing it, you're sinking it in, you're fully comprehending their needs because you're taking it all in. Listen to understand, not to respond. Cultivate a relationship. That's with FSBOs, that's with expires, that's with any seller. I train and teach agents, don't present to sellers. Interact with them. That's why at a training, I have show of hands, right? I want you guys interacting. I don't want to talk at you. But build a relationship. When you're interacting with people, you're cultivating that relationship. Don't talk at sellers. Listen and interact with them. Do CMAs with them. Don't just show up and say, here's what your home's worth because I printed out these 3 sheets, right? Walk them through how you got to that process. Bring your laptop, your iPad, your Galaxy, whatever you use. Go in the MLS with them. This is what an appraiser would do. But interact with them, build a relationship. And if you're talking about all the circle of excellences and your market share and your brand's market share and your marketing and everything else, and you're talking at them, you're not getting to dissect what their needs are. You're probably not listening, and you're not building a relationship because it's all about you and not about them. Show your value. And this is a tough one for a lot of agents. You have to take a step back. What's your value proposition? What makes you unique? Why should I go with you versus someone else? And if you can't fully articulate that, the seller's not going to figure it out. They can't guess it. They can't read your mind. They don't know what you do. But know your value. Be able to articulate it. Eyes closed, driving, whatever. You should be able to explain to a seller, a buyer, any client exactly what makes you the best, why they should do business with you. So, moving on to cold calling conversion. Always ask questions. This comes up a lot. And I'm repetitive about this because it's the most important thing you can do. Ask questions. Calling post-sales. You sell a house, it's an easy call, right? You sold the home, hey, Mr. Seller, I wanted to, go ahead.
I just had a quick question
Sure.
about the expired.
Sure.
I know like REDX is probably the go-to for the more recent expireds.
Yep.
But I like the idea of doing the ones that are older, so it's like less competitive. Do you have a go-to for getting like seller numbers? Like I've tried Spokio.
Spokio, been verified. There's a bunch, Super Pages. There's a bunch of paid sites you can get. But with REDX, LandVoice, and Vulcan 7 and all these other CRM/portals that you can use, you can just go back in time. You set the date range. So you can reverse the date range. Instead of looking for yesterday's expired, make the date 6 months ago's expired, right? You can make the date range January 2018 to March or whatever month 2018, and you'll still pull the same data, but you're getting the older ones. What most agents do with REDX, LandVoice, et cetera, is they're pulling yesterday's, or they're pulling Friday through Sunday because they're calling on Monday, but they're not pulling the 6 months prior, a year prior. But of course, there's some scrubbing involved because once you pull it that way, you have to cross-reference it with the MLS to make sure they didn't relist and sell. But that's the way to do it. So cold calling and converting cold calls. Calling past sales, these are softer calls. Like when you're just cold calling and you don't have an angle or direction, it's a tougher sale. But when you're cold calling saying, I just sold something on your street, I just sold something in your development, I just sold something in your neighborhood, and I just wanted to give you the information, that's a little bit of a softer sale. Won't you guys agree? So that's an easier conversion. And for those of you that haven't done it and need to be a little more confident doing it, that's a good way to start. Rather than just randomly cold calling, call with some information and you have a direction for the conversation. Providing neighborhood updates quarterly. So there's a lot of lead sources for generating listings like FSBOs, expireds, we're gonna cover them all. But there's a lot of agents that just do a market update. They're calling people that are likely to move based on criteria such as how long they've been in their home, whether they're empty nesters, whether they bought their home for $300,000, now it's worth $550 to $600. But if you're calling, have some information. Why not do a quarterly update? In Edison, since we're in Edison right now, here's what happened in the last quarter. X amount of homes got listed. The sales prices ranges from this to this. The days on the market are this. So I'm just giving you a quarterly update. You're doing this with the intention of, at some point their real estate needs change and they need to move. Who do you think they're gonna go with? A lot of times they forgot who the buyer agent was that sold them the home, or the buyer agent's just not adding value, but you are. So quarterly updates is a nice way to call. Hey, I'm just your local resource, your real estate resource, just giving you a snapshot of what happened in the last quarter. And even though their needs may not change in the next first, second, third quarter, if you're consistently doing this and they're at work or they're at a function and someone mentions, hey, I'm looking to buy a house, or yeah, we think we're gonna move. Oh yeah, there's this realtor, Olivier, he sends me these, gives me an idea of what's going on, he sends me this. They're more likely to refer you. And the more you do it over time and you commit to it, you become someone that they remember and they think of. So when they get something for you, they get their call, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, versus who are you, right? Calling with new listings. Same thing happens when you take a new listing. That's a nice soft call. Hey, I just listed something on your street. Just wanted to introduce myself. I'll be doing an open house, wanted to personally invite you. And I know a lot of neighbors want to get their friends and family to live close by. So I wanted you to know that your neighbor's home is for sale. Nice soft call. It's not a hard cold call, but that's a nice way to start. Provide information about the town. If you're calling, have something. If you don't want to do quarterly updates, if you don't have a listing there, if you haven't sold something there, get confident on the town and what's going on. In my town right now, they're building an ice rink. What do you think about the ice rink being built? And it's actually, you would think that's a positive thing. Some people don't like it because they took out basketball courts to build an ice rink. But that's what's going on, and that's the big talking point. Get confident on what's going on in the town. They're making changes to the train line that's going to now be direct into New York, which is a big talk in my town also. It's taken 10 years to get there, but they're working on it, right? But if you don't have sales, if you don't have listings, get confident in what's going on in the town, because now you can have a conversation with the person. You'll feel more local. Someone calls you and they can talk about what's going on in your town. You're not even gonna question if they live there. You're gonna assume that they live there, even though they could live 5 towns over in the next county. But if you're able to talk about the town, you seem like the local expert. Look to become a long-term contact. Again, it's not the one and done. You're not gonna call them and have that magic pitch and they're gonna say, come list my house today. It's being in their resource for when their needs change and when they need to sell. Farm them as well as calling. Double down. Send them stuff. The calling's great. You have conversations, you build some rapport, but you need to reinforce that. right? Show them the quality of your marketing. Show them that you are a resource. Show them that you are local. I say double down. It will only help you establish your relationship further. Then when you call, you have a reason to follow up. Hey, I sent you that mailer. Just wanted to make sure you got it. What do you think about the market snapshot? Oh my gosh, I didn't know the homes were going for that much. When I'm ready to sell, I'll definitely think of you. Call for buyers looking in a specific area. How many of you are working with buyers now and you can't find the inventory? Right? And you're frustrated because you got these buyers ready to go, they're approved, you can't find the inventory. If you have the buyers, absolutely call. You're calling with a great message. Hey, I have buyers and I don't have the inventory. Someone's looking to buy in your development, but there's nothing for sale. At the right price, would you consider selling? Sure, what's the right price? Well, let me come look at your home. You're getting your foot in the door. And even if they're not ready to sell today, you planted a seed that sometimes will blossom and grow to them listing their home. But you can kill two birds with one stone here. You can get your buyer a house and you can get a listing. But call. If you have the buyers, whatever town you're looking in, you're looking in Edison, you have buyers looking for something in Metuchen and you can't find the inventory, give sellers a call. That's a nice warm cold call. Hey, I'm trying to solve a problem. And I might also help you in doing that. Would you consider selling at the right price? So with cold calling, there's ways to be strategic. And strategic is calling with a purposed target market. And it's tough to cold call because you're catching someone off guard. I get calls for random stuff. But if you're calling with a target market of who you think or anticipate may be more likely to sell, you'll have a higher conversion rate. Someone that's been in their home 15 years, I think the stat in New Jersey is people move every 8, give or take. That fluctuates year to year. But if you're calling someone that's been in their home for 15 years, it's very likely that they're empty nesters, they're tired of paying the New Jersey's taxes, and they want to downsize, right? Kids are out of school, or they realize, paying 15 grand, 12 grand, 10 grand in taxes isn't that appealing anymore. And they've owned a home for 15, 20, 30 years, and they realize, let me go somewhere where it's less. I don't need 4 bedrooms. But if you're targeting that, you'll have a higher conversion rate. If you're just randomly cold calling, you pull up the directory and you call every house on Oak Street, you'll have some results. But if you're calling the houses on Oak Street that the homeowners have been there for 15, 20, 30 years, they're more likely. And what's going to happen is you'll have better results, then you'll feel more confident, and it will push you to go get more listings and make more calls. And then when you do pick up a couple listings off of it and you have a sign or two out there, now you're going to piggyback that, and that will generate more listings for you. So be targeted, be intentional. Know that I need to have the best results possible, so I'm going to prepare, which we talked about, and I will have a target audience of people that have been in their home 15 years or more, because someone that just bought 3 years ago probably isn't likely to sell.
Quick question.
Sure.
When you spoke about value proposition, what are some of the key points that, like, what you bring to the table that you normally emphasize?
So
if it's a FISBO, and why am I?
good question. And for everyone, it's different, right? What are your strong points? Some agents are very strong at marketing. They spend a lot. They know what works. They know how to do Facebook ads. They know how to target market buyers that are moving into the town. So let's use Edison since we're here today. If the buyers are coming from Jersey City and Hoboken, if you know how to do ads to find those buyers and directly target them, that's your value proposition, because most agents aren't doing that. If you have a team and you have layers of support and someone's always able to reach someone on your team, that's your value proposition. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if I'm on vacation or with another client and you need an answer, you can call my closing coordinator, you can call my admin, you can call my buyer agent, right? That's your value proposition. If you sold every home in that development or you have the market share, your value proposition is no one sells in this neighborhood more than me. So for every agent, it's different, and you have to define your own value proposition. And you have to define why they should list with you. And for certain areas, it could be different, right? You could have great market share in one area, and in another area, you're trying to break into it. And your value proposition, let's say you're trying to break into Metuchen because you haven't sold there. Your value proposition could be, I will work harder for you here in Metuchen. I need to sell this. Whereas most other agents that you're meeting with might want to sell your home, and you're 1 out of 10 for them. I need this because I need to do a great job for you so I can leverage this to get another listing in Metuchen. I need your testimonial. I need your review so I can build my business here. That's your value proposition. I will work harder than anyone else because I need this. I don't want it. Everyone else may want your listing. So it just depends. It depends on you, the individual, and what you guys are comfortable doing, and it depends on what the marketplace is.
Can you move that side? I can't see the.
Oh, sorry. I just didn't want to cross this. But I'll send the slides as well.
Okay.
How would you deal with the homes that are listed with companies like RealMart, you know, where they are on the MLS as well?
Okay.
They're technically a FSBO.
Yeah, you know the rules.
Yes.
We can't call them because they're listed. They're listed through an agency. RealMart's an agency, and all the other discount brokers. You can't solicit them. That's just a rule. There's no.
Backdoor or anything to solicit?
There's a lot of back doors, but they could lead to terrible places. Like losing your license or getting fined or getting, having to go in front of the board because you're soliciting someone else's client. So unfortunately, you kind of got to wait them out. You have to wait them out.
To see if
Their
it
current-
expires.
During their current listing. You can solicit them for their future business.
Correct.
When your listing expires in 3 months and 1 day,
Correct.
would you consider listing your house with somebody else? But that's like the slippery.
And that's how you get listing agents to hate you and everybody else.
Well,
So it's a gray area because what's going to happen in that case is the seller will communicate it to their agent in another way, and there's going to be a disconnect if you call ahead of time and say, hey, your listing's set to expire in 60 days, and I think I can do a better job of marketing it. You've been on the market for 4 months. You can do that. You risk the danger of the seller calling the listing agent saying, Olivier said he could do a better job of marketing my house, and if you don't get this sold, I'm going to go with him. Oh, Olivier called you? Oh, really? And that's what he said? So, okay, let me call his broker or let me go file a complaint. So you can do it, but it's a gray area that is probably best to stay away from because more times than not, it will lead you down a road you don't want to get into.
And I was just telling Jane in the back that I got a postcard, I think I probably sent it to you, from a not going to name the person or the company,
Okay.
that said, my listing is live, okay, for 3 months. And the postcard said, if you were listed with, we have buyers, if you were listed with us, we would have sold this already.
Wow. That's a direct violation.
Oh yeah, that went right to the
Yeah. So the answer,
client.
yeah. So the answer is you can't really solicit. Even though they're Realty Mart, you got to catch them when you see that lawn sign. You have to pay attention to the Make Me Moves on Zillow and the for sale by owner sites. You have to find it before they go to Realty Mart. And there's probably a high percentage that tried FSBO normally before they paid a discount broker or a flat fee broker to list. Most of them will try it first. So you got to catch them that way to answer your question.
What if the seller calls you while the listing is still active?
You did not solicit them, correct?
So I'm.
You did not solicit them. I mean,
But he called me with saw my advertisement somewhere and he called.
that's fine. You could have sent a just listed postcard from a house you listed around the corner. If they called you or someone gave them your card, you did not solicit them.
just write it down. Make a note that they called you and when they called you.
Exactly. So, past clients and past client conversion. Past buyers who bought a home with you become sellers. This is actually a big opportunity that a lot of agents don't focus on. They forget about them, and they forget that your past buyers will become sellers, or they think my past buyers will only refer me buyers. Past clients refer you buyers and sellers, and a lot of times They'll refer you neighbors that are looking to upgrade or downsize and will sell and buy. But you have to work them, and you have to pay attention to what's going on with your past clients and keep in touch, because they will become sellers. At some point, they're going to outgrow the home, or they're going to want to downsize. Life changes, their work environment changes. They may have a bigger commute. They may want to live closer to family to help with kids. They may just want a new house, period. So pay attention to your past clients. That's a big source for listings that a lot of agents lose sight of. How many times have we all listed homes and you say to yourself, why didn't they go back with the listing agent? They just bought it 2 or 3 years ago. I'm sorry, the buyer agent. It's because the buyer agents lose sight of communication, and they forget that I could still work this person for a future listing besides their referrals. So, as I mentioned, past buyers will refer you sellers as well. They'll refer you a neighbor. They'll refer you buyers and sellers probably equally. One thing I like is landlords. I never really focused on rentals. It wasn't in my book of business to really focus on it. But if a landlord came to me, I realized, you know what? They may eventually sell. Or they may have multiple properties. Or taking a rental listing is pretty easy. You don't go show the tenants, you refer those out, you list it. But think about a landlord where you're getting their rental every year or every 2 years, and you could explain to them, hey, Joe, hey, Sue, every year you're losing 2 months of rent. You have a vacancy, then we have to market the place, you pay me a month's commission. You know, what's your real net and your ROI on here? Is this something you want to continue doing? They may decide to list. Take those rental listings. It can pay off. Also, you have someone with a 2-family. They're doing well. Market's improving. We're in a good market. Value's up. Hey, Sally, what if you sold this 2-family and we rolled your equity into a 4-family or a 6-unit, increase your investment, bring in more cash flow, you'll make more money. What do you think? Can you find me one? Sure. Now you just sold them a house and you're getting their listing, right? So they're a good avenue to pick up some sellers. A lot of people lose sight of that. Pay attention to your clients on social media, life changes. Having kids is a big one. So your past buyers, you sold them that 2-3 bedroom starter home Cape, and you find out that they're having twins on top of the child or kids they already have, they're probably going to need to move. But you have to pay attention. If you're not paying attention and you're not watching what's going on in their world, they're busy, they forget about you, you forget about them. All of a sudden, you see them and you find out that their home's listed with someone else. Pay attention, interact with them, be part of their life, so when there's a life change, they're thinking of you. Always ask for the business. Buyers, sellers, clients, family, friends, they forget how we survive, how we have to generate leads, how we're only as good as our last sale, right? And we're always reinventing ourselves every day to pick up more business. And it's not their job to understand it, but you have to ask for the business. They have to know that you need referrals. And you know what happens? We're all doing well. You guys are here training yourselves to do well because you get it. You know, you're all competent, good agents, and you're on social media, just closed a deal, picked up a listing. Your clients think you don't need them, right? Your clients think you're crushing it. Look at my agent, they're doing so good, they're always selling. But they don't realize how hard it is. They see the glam part, that you just sold something, or you just listed something, so you're getting paid. But they don't realize how hard it was to get that listing or to actually get that deal to close. So you have to ask for the business. They need to know that you live off referrals. And if they understand that, when their neighbor is doing their roof because they're looking to sell, they'll say, oh, you should talk to my agent. But if they don't understand that, they're gonna say, you know, he's busy, she's busy. They're all over the social media selling, let me not bother them. Or, it's not their territory. Or, it's a little condo. but there's business there. But they have to know, so you have to ask for the business. And campaign and follow up with your clients. Don't be the list them and leave them. Don't be the, I sold you a house and now you don't ever hear from me again. You have to have a process. You can do campaigns. Some CRMs have built-in campaigns. You can create your own campaigns. You can do client appreciation parties. You can follow up. You can pop by. That's what Buffini teaches. You know, he charges $1,000 a month to tell agents to go pop by and call your past clients and work your sphere. You know, hold yourself accountable. So moving on to referral sources. These are these third-party companies. This is a great way to pick up business. Now, there's companies like the Fitzgerald company out of New York. There's a bunch in upstate New York. I've probably got 4 calls, and I've actually done business with about 2 of them over the years on a company level and one on a personal level, where they have ISAs for you. So basically, rather than you hiring an ISA, training them, paying them being accountable to you, you pay these companies, they charge you a referral fee on the back end. A lot of them charge you money up front, but they work as ISAs and they set you up on appointments. You literally get a LandVoice or a RedX account. You send them the list every month or every week, and they will cold call for you. That's a third-party company that can help you generate listings. Some of them will even do it on conversion. You will only pay them on closed deals. There's a lot of companies out there. Here are some. And these are all the websites: Top Agent Connection, Verified Realty Leads, ZipProp, Agent Zip. Zillow's Agent Finder is, you're paying to be featured when someone looks for an agent. Boomtown, Bold Leads, Home Value Leads, Market Leader has seller leads. That's another platform. Real Estate Pipeline. These are some of the third-party sites which sell seller leads, push seller leads onto you, work as ISAs, and do SEO and pay-per-click to generate sellers in and provide them to you with a referral fee. Or some of them are up front, some of them are in the back end. Relocation companies. You can Google real estate relocation companies, and there's some big ones that you have to be affiliated with through your brokerage to actually get an account with. But if you Google it, you will find that there's probably dozens of relocation companies that you don't need an affiliation. And yes, there's a referral on the back end, but relocation listings are great. They're usually high net worth clients that are professionals. And the relocation company is very motivated and aggressive on pricing. There's some work and there's a lot of paperwork involved, but if you Google relocation companies, you should be able to find some that you sign up with. And it's like cold calling and soliciting. You got to call them and try to work your way in, but you get the one and then you leverage it to get another and another. But relocation companies can be an easy avenue to pick up some listings. And then there's companies like SmartZip. So on a company level, company I previously managed, we invested in SmartZip, which is really expensive. And their whole algorithm was what we covered before. They look for people that have been in their home 15 to 20 years or more, and they target them. What they do is they pull the data for you, basically looking at tax records and also looking at other information such as super pages and Spokio, been verified, et cetera, to see the age of the homeowners and the residents of the home. Then they pair that with marketing campaign, mailers, and some online lead gen with some ads. And they charge you tens of thousands of dollars to do this. Whereas you guys can do the sweat equity of pulling the tax records, finding who's been in their home 15 to 20 years, right? Looking them up in Been Verified, Spokio, and all these other sites to get the contact information and reaching out to them yourselves. You want to farm them? You want to cold call them? You want to door knock? You can do it without spending the $10,000 or plus that they charge. Door knocking. Some people are going to cringe. Oh my gosh, show up unannounced. Be prepared with market activity of the neighborhood. The worst thing you could do is knock on someone's door and they're somewhat interested, and you don't know that 2 months ago, 2 of the houses sold, right? or you don't know that 3 months ago, a couple of the houses expired because they couldn't sell. So be prepared. Know what's going on in the market. Make yourself seem like the local expert. People still believe that real estate is super hyper local, that you need to be in their town. You need to know their town. So be prepared with what's going on in their town. Have something as a leave behind. If you don't get them, don't just jam your card in the door. Who's gotten home and got the card in the door from the landscaper, and you're like, "Ah, another one of these." The first thing I do is I throw it away. Then I'm annoyed that I got to walk to the garbage when I walk in to throw it away, right? Leave something of value. Be purposeful. Differentiate yourself. Show them why they should pay attention to you, not just a card jammed into the door. Strategic knocking. That's an easy way to door knock for those of you that cringed when door knocking came up. You can knock with a purpose when you have a listing, when you're sitting in open house, whether it's your listing or not, when you just sold something. Because now you're knocking on the door with information and you're helping them find out what's going on in the neighborhood. When you're door knocking with a new listing, how many of those nosy neighbors start asking you a bunch of questions about their house? They listed for what? My house is way better, right? So have a purpose. That helps. If you're not into door knocking, when you do sit in open house, when you do take a listing, just knock on the door. Start with the 3 on each side and the 3 across the street. Then you're going to get comfortable with it. Then you can go and knock the whole block. And it will become easier and easier. But if you knock on the neighbor, just say, "Hey, putting my sign out here and wanted to introduce myself. If you ever have any questions, I'm here. If you ever see anything, don't hesitate to call me." They appreciate that. By the way, here's the listing. If you wanted to know, I'm hoping an open house. A lot of people want to see what their neighbor's house looks like, especially some of the builders, especially some of the flips where they saw people working on it for so long, or that neighbor that never spoke to them and they just wondered what the mystery of the inside of the house looks like, right? So knock on the door, invite them to the open house. Tell them about the listing. You'd be surprised of, "Oh my gosh, they're going for this now? What do you think my home's worth?" From an easy door knock. And that's a soft knock because you have a listing next door. You have a purpose. You have a message. You have a direction. One opportunity, and we talked about this several times, is pulling those tax records if you're going to go door knock. So a couple agents in my office door knock, and I asked them what's their process. And he said, "I just pick a street and I door knock." That works. The one agent said he knocked on 13 doors and picked up 3 listings.
What did he say?
He's here. I'll have you talk to him later. And he was a new agent. He should actually come up here and talk about it. He was a first-year agent, knocked on 13 doors, picked up 3 listings. But maybe you'll have a better conversion if you're a little more strategized and strategic with going back in tax records and figuring out who's more likely to sell, who's been in their home longer. What SmartZip does. Maybe instead of 3 out of 13, you'll pick up 7 out of 13 because you're targeting people that probably have the desire or need to sell. So leave behinds. These are cheesy, but you have something. The door hangers, a postcard with information, what your value proposition is, what differentiates yourself, market data, quarterly report. Here's what's sold in Colonia in the last quarter, prices, days on market, how many listings. That's something that someone would probably read and pay attention to. Even if they're not looking to sell, "Oh, this is the price ranges," because everyone wants to know the value of their home. It's equity. It's kind of like money in the bank. If that's what you're providing, that's a valuable thing to people. But I sold 50 homes isn't valuable to a seller that's not looking to sell today, right? So whatever you're leaving behind, make sure it's kind of universal to help everyone. Not how great you are, not that your company has the market share, because if they're not looking to sell, that's not useful to them. But if you're giving them data, "Oh, wow, the homes are selling for this. Maybe we could do that roof. Maybe we can put an equity line and get some of these renovations done if the values are up," right? And that starts the process of you being an asset to them and valuable and their resource. Farming. I get all this farming stuff. I share it with the agents, I save it. I actually enjoy it because it helps me learn how to better market. It helps me see what other agents are doing. It helps me understand the competition if I'm going on a listing appointment. But it works. I get a ton of it in my town. I feel like every agent's farming. I get multiples from the same agent. I get 5 agents from the same company farming me. It's entertaining to me. But I'm also learning what they're doing, and I'm comparing it to what we're doing. But it's a long-term commitment. A lot of agents look at farming as, I just listed something, I sent cards, I didn't get a listing again. I just sold something, I sent out the cards, I didn't get a listing from it. And they think if I do it for a year and I get no listings, it's not gonna work. It's not about the months, it's the years of doing it. Because you're basically sending out a mailer saying, I hope I send a mailer today and someone says, honey, you know how we were talking about selling last night? I just got this postcard from Olivier. This is a sign we should sell with Olivier, right? If you're mailing expecting that kind of result, it's unrealistic. But if you're doing it and you're committing long term, you'll have the results. Get married to the process, not the results. If you stick with the process, you'll get the results. If you look for the immediate results and you try to take the elevator there and avoid the stairs and the steps to get there, you won't get it. Quarterly works. You don't have to do it monthly because people's real estate needs don't change month to month. Someone that doesn't need to sell today isn't going to automatically need to sell tomorrow. Whether it's a job change, divorce, growth of family with new kids, that happens over months. And even when it happens today, the decision to list our house or start the process of selling is not immediate because everyone tries to figure it out and they start to research, should I do this, should I do that, could I do an addition, do I refinance, do I do this, do I do that? Their needs don't change month to month, so you don't have to do it monthly. Rather than sending 12 mailers in a year, you're better off sending 12 mailers over 3 years because in that long term, that's where their needs could change. Month to month, it's not realistic that someone today needs to sell tomorrow. And if you genuinely have buyers, solicit them for listing leads. Solicit them for their listing. But you have to generally have the buyers. Hey, I'm looking in Parkgate in Edison. I can't find anything, nothing's on the market. I have a buyer that needs to be there. Would you consider selling for the right price? Whatever your spiel is. Bring the buyers in. If it works, it doesn't work, the buyers don't like it. But now you just showed to that agent that you're active, you're local, you have buyers, you can get it done, you're working hard for your clients. And when they need to sell, they're gonna think of you. And if they let you in the door, they probably are really entertaining it. And now you may have accelerated them listing their home. Online advertising, that's where I guess the newer trend. So online valuation ads and landing pages. That's where you've all seen on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever other sites where it says, hey, I'm John Doe, looking to find the value of your home. Come click on here and I'll give you a free valuation. That's very, very, very successful. The problem is the agents that do it, because it's very easy to set up, they're not prepared for running all these CMAs on these inquiries. So you do this valuation ad, you get 20 people that respond. Here's my information, my address, my bedrooms. I want the free CMA. And now you're running around with buyers, you're doing inspections, you have other appointments, and you have to run 20 CMAs, right? So most agents will then, I don't know where to begin, and they almost do nothing with this whole thing that they did this big campaign. So if you're going to go down this road, and we did a training a couple months back with Jeff Lobb on these landing pages, be prepared for the back end of it. You can generate the CMA request in, but how are you executing and delivering those CMAs? Again, it's not about just lead gen, it's about lead gen and conversion. So these are easy to do. You do the valuations, they're very cost effective. You could do them on a daily basis. You could have a $10 budget with Facebook ads or Instagram ads. But what do you do when you get 20 inquiries? Generating leads to just burn through them is not ideal. You have to have the back end process set up to turn over those inquiries into CMAs and then follow up. Otherwise, the person will remember, I submitted an inquiry, never heard back. And when they're ready to sell and they remember that face or remember that name or the brand, frankly, you're losing that business because you didn't have the system set up. Facebook and Instagram ads are probably the leader in that category because that's where everyone is. Did you have a question? Oh, sorry. Facebook and Instagram ads are very cost effective, very easy to set up. It's another kind of toll booth, you could say, where you got to go through it because that's where our clients are. That's where our network is. Until Snapchat or something else takes over, that's where the clients are. That's where your audience is. So you have to pay attention to it and get involved. But cost effective, very easy to do. You'll get the results. A lot of agents are doing it. They'll burn out from it because they'll spend their time creating an ad, but not convert. So the key to converting these is just the back end process. It's a lot of work. You get 10 CMA requests. You got to run 10 CMAs. And how are you delivering them? So be prepared for that. But it works. Web following ads like WebEx, and we've all looked for a pair of shoes. Then you go to some other site and the shoes are following you, right? I can tell what my wife's been looking at because I log on the computer and I'm like, oh, really? Right? Agents do it too. You look for a house, and now Olivier Lewis is on every website when you go to look for anything else. Some people are annoyed by it. Some people wind up clicking it. It leads to your site. And hey, you get an inquiry, you get a listing, you get a buy side. That's a direction that people are going in. It's a new wave. To each their own. If you'd like to do that, it can work. But again, it's something you have to commit to. And you have to have a back end. Where are you driving them to? If you're just driving them to your landing page on the company website, and the minute they do a search, it takes them off your landing page and back to the company site, and someone else gets the lead, it's not fruitful for you. So you have to figure out on the back end, if you're doing that, where are they landing? Do you have an IDX site where everything's going to connect? I've seen agents do this stuff and push it to their Zillow site, and their Zillow site, you hit search and you click a couple things, and now you're on Zillow and they've lost that agent. So that agent just did a good job of driving traffic to Zillow, but not themselves. So if you decide to do that, just make sure your back end is set up that they're landing on a page that you control and are not going to veer off. That's fully IDX, because if they only have your company or your listings, they're never, ever going back there because they want the world of listings, not just yours or mine. Pay-per-click ads. So those third-party companies that I mentioned in a couple slides prior that generate seller leads, they absolutely work. They're great. They're doing pay-per-click. They're paying for Google keywords such as selling a home, value my home, top agent in the area. And that's how they're getting those leads that they're turning around and selling to us. Now, can you do them yourself? Absolutely. Is this a little more complex? Absolutely. Can you find SEO guys that freelance that can do it for you? Yes, you can. I know an agent that did this with short sales and wound up doing 130 short sales in 1 year. Pay-per-click ads. He has a process, don't worry, he wasn't lost in his office doing short sales. He has an attorney who has a team that he just lists them and pass them on. I don't remember how many he closed, which I'll ask, we'll talk about it next time, but you can do very well with pay-per-click and buying Google keywords. It's a little pricey, and Google's constantly changing their analytics, but that can work as well. And the big three, Zillow, Realtor, Trulia. Zillow has the agent finder. You come up on top, and you're a featured agent. Sellers look there for agents. If you're going to feature that yourself, make sure you have past sales. Make sure your profile is correct. Make sure you don't have a duplicate profile that someone lands on that's incomplete. And there are seller lead programs through Zillow, Realtor, Trulia. They're not that effective, but if you have the money to invest and are not looking for a great ROI, but just something, that can work as well. And distressed properties. Going after list pendants, anyone behind on their mortgage, again, these will lead to short sales, but you can pass it off to someone that can process it. no one in here should ever be processing short sales. You should find an attorney, find a third-party company that can do it. Going to the online banks, ResNet, Equator, Sign Up, HomePath, HUD Home Store. 2 years ago, I signed up for ResNet. 2 weeks later, about 2 weeks later, I got a listing. I got a call from an asset manager, gave me a listing in Plainfield, sold it, great. So you can sign up for these and they will generate listings.
When you say sign up, like, for example, I signed up and then today I signed up for a seminar. They have one today at 4. It's a webinar. Is that what you mean by signing up?
Sign up to be a vendor. Sometimes the webinars will lead you to how to become a vendor, but you want to become a vendor or an affiliate. So you want an account with them as a listing agent. So takeaways, always prepare. You have to commit. It's a long term. There's no magic pill to generate listings today that we all can take. Be intentional. Have a direction. Excel in your service. You have to provide service. We're in the service industry. Know and articulate your value. You have to know what your value proposition is because they can't guess it for you. Differentiate yourself. Figure out what the competition's doing and do it differently. That's it for today. I'm going to open this. What was that?
Back up a couple of things. I didn't get
Sure.
a chance to write down.
Sure. I'm going to bring up Bob Schroeder from First Team Title. He's going to quickly go over some stuff, and then we'll get back to some questions. Bob has to head out. So Bob, come on up.
I will not be as smooth as this guy, I promise you that. I just wanted to
Okay.
let everybody know that,
No, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Okay, never mind.
Sorry.
Foundation Title has partnered with Remax First. Just to give you a little background on Foundation Title, we're the largest title company in the state of New Jersey. We were rated one of the top 3 title companies in the state by the New Jersey Law Journal. These guys have partnered up to give you guys value in the marketing, and we have a huge marketing department that I think Jane Mueller uses it and a few other people. And once they've got and tried it, because that's the first thing, you gotta give it a go. It's all done through an email. Just give us the MLS number. If you want your picture on it for your open houses, they have neighborhood flyers, booklets. There's no cost to it. You just send us the number to our marketing department. They'll put it together for you. You proof it personally, and then they'll send it right out to you at no cost. It's really something that if you're not using it, you're missing out here. And that's one of the things that these guys wanted to give you value in the marketing, and that it's I think what I'm seeing is the people that have tried it, the people that are sitting next to them in the office, they're like, where did you get that from? And then all of a sudden I'm starting to get calls about it once they see it. So I'm going to leave the information. I've left this book here. It has all the marketing stuff in it, what's available. If you want to do mass mailings, if you want to do postcards, whatever you want to do, email blasts, we do it all for you. Everything it's in here. There is cost on certain things because of the banking commission. We can't do everything for your postcards. You have to pay for the stamps, and there's a certain amount of money that goes along with it. We can't provide everything for free because of the RESPA laws. So that's the one thing I just really would ask you to take a look here. The other thing is, with the size of our company, you're getting the service end of it that you're probably not going to get from a lot of other partnered joint ventures that we do with other smaller companies. We have over 190 employees. When you deal with us, you're going to get a specific girl that you deal with every time. That is your processor. If you have a question on your client's file, you call Corinne. If you have a problem, you call me. So it's not like you're dealing with people you don't know. I'm in the offices all the time. Hopefully I'll be in Cranford more often. But you can call me at any time. And with the marketing and knowing who that you're going to be able to speak to try to get your stuff fixed, I think will make a big difference. And I mean that. Call me anytime for anything. There's girls in the office to help if you need a certain form. We can get it to you immediately. We have stuff on our website you can go on and pull it right off yourself if you choose to do that. You can download them and just print them out yourself. So that has a lot to do with just giving us a chance. And I think you'll see that the service, that's how we've grown, because of service, much like you guys. Without the service from the title end, you, as you all probably have had that situation from time to time where a deal didn't close, something got hung up, they just didn't have the personnel to be able to help you. We don't have that issue because of our size. We do have Spanish-speaking closers. I know that's a thing that comes up from time to time, that, you know, if you're dealing with a certain Spanish population, that they're not able to close at the closing table, they're not able to talk to people and know what, you know, that clear cut, being able to know what you're saying. We have that available to you. Again, I'm gonna leave the books, I'll have this here up, Olivia's
Yep.
gonna take it up to Cranford, and then I'll bring it back to East Brunswick office. But if you see it up there, take a look. It really does show everything that is available to you. And the last thing I would like to say, and I know Olivia's been saying about the hard work stuff. In my business, it's the same thing, cold call. I'm in attorney's offices, realtors, everything that I do is just, I've been doing this for 20 years. I can't stress enough, as he had said, plant the seeds now, go out there, knock on those doors. You might think, like, there's times I'll walk in an attorney's office or meeting a realtor, I'm like, oh, I can't do this, and I've been doing this for 20 years. They can become your best clients. They really can. You gotta just keep trying. I just started my son in the business. We're working as a team, and I just keep telling him, work hard, just keep doing it, and he's starting to see a groundswell. So, again, with all you guys, whether you've been doing, and gals, been doing it for a short period of time, long period of time, don't forget, at the end of the day, that's what I tell all our salespeople. We have about 35 salespeople. Look in the mirror in your car when you're driving home and see if you cheated the person you're looking at, because if you did, you cheated yourself. And I can't say that enough. The people that are doing the most business are probably working the hardest, and you can all look around and probably notice the same thing. So again, I will leave my card, I'll leave some information. If you need anything, please call me. If you have any questions about the title end with First Team Title, again, whatever you guys need, we're here to help. And please take a look at this and try the marketing department. You don't have to do anything other than an email. You send it to them, this is the MLS number, send them your picture, they'll pull it right off the website. You say, no, I want the picture bigger, I want this on it. You proof it, you okay it, they'll send it to the location you want it, there's no cost, zero. And you can give them out at your open houses, or if you just want something to knock on the door, as Olivier was saying, to hand out. We have a multitude of things in here at no cost, okay? Thanks.
Bob, thank you.
Yeah, take that.
Perfect.
Thanks, buddy. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody.
So just wrapping up, we went over the takeaways. I kind of rushed through that because Bob has to head out, but this training is really about lead gen, lead conversion, pairing the two, making a marriage of the two. You don't want to generate leads and not convert, and you need leads to convert. So it works hand in hand. You have to be prepared, and you have to differentiate yourself, and you have to show value. If you do that, you will generate leads. You'll generate listing leads. You'll actually close them and all the fun stuff. But we all see agents in the office, and you're saying, how did he or she get that listing? They're doing it. It's the basics that we all know that we just lose sight of. But stick with it. It's long term. There's no magic pill. That's why I said spoiler alert at the beginning. There's not reinventing the wheel. It's just you have to be consistent. You have to know your value, and you have to provide great service. Any questions? All right. With that said, November 8th, our next training is going to be a great one. Carl and I's coach, Wayne Frederick, is coming in from Missouri. He's well accomplished. The name of his company is The Field Consulting, and we're going to have him here to do a coaching session. November's a big month for us because that's when a lot of people tend to slow down and tend to start to check out and say that, oh, I'll pick it back up in the new year. But it's not the case. We have some of our agents having their best months in November and December because everyone else is checked out. So there's enough business there to pick up more on top of what they already had, as well as there's not as many bidding wars, so your buyers can get in. And if you can get that message to a seller that it's better for you to list now because you're not competing with 10 other like-in-kind homes in the spring. You can pick up listings. So it's a great month to come in, have some coaching. We're going to cover some great topics with Wayne. That's November 8th. Save the date. Of course, we'll send you guys all an invite.
Is he the one that did the CRS?
Yes, yes, yes. He did the CRS training for us. So that's November 8th. Thank you all for coming. If anyone wants the slides, just give me your business card and I'll email the presentation.
Like 2 slots. Next one. One more. All right, just that and then distress and I'll be done.
Okay, perfect. I'll get your card. But thank you all for coming today, guys. Thank you.